What's good, family? Welcome to another episode of the Kings of the South podcast and NFC South podcast. I'm your boy Cory. That's TJ right there. We're gonna crank it up, man. We're gonna talk the latest in free agency, and we're gonna get going on some draft takes, man.
Yep.
It's that time of the year, buddy. What's going on with you, man, Mister? Vacation man. What's going on?
Hey man, what's going on, man? It's going good. I'm back. I was in Asheville for the weekend.
Yeah,
I'm very excited to be recording episode 3 and
episode 3, baby.
looking forward to the draft and also analyzing some of the transactions over the last few days. Carolina had a big one today that
Oh
I'm
yeah,
happy about.
oh yeah. We're gonna get into
Um,
that. We
we're
gonna
gonna
get
get into
into that.
that, and we're gonna project where we go from here. So let's get into it.
Yeah, man, let's get it cranked up. Let's get it started, man. First order of business, let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. They made not really a notable free agent signing. They signed Storm Norton, right tackle. He spent the last 3 years in LA with the Chargers. Um, I'm pretty sure this is nothing but a depth signing. He did
Yeah.
he did start 15 games in 2021. Uh, he did not perform well in 2021.
No.
Uh, he gave up 13 sacks, which is less than ideal. But hey, if you can have a third string right tackle with starting NFL experience, you are well ahead of the game.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was a good signing. I would agree it's a depth signing for the Saints.
Mm.
I think their point of focus is going to be the draft from here on out. I don't foresee them signing any more big names through free agency going forward.
Don't jinx us.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna try to jinx us, but if I was projecting ahead, I would not foresee them making any more moves
Mm,
until the draft.
mm,
So I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised if the trade up in round one, though. I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm. I respect that. I get it. Uh, Here's hoping we don't see a breaking news set. The Saints have signed McCole Hartman to a 2-year deal. Just know I'm gonna blame you. Just know that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that ball to drop. McCall Hardman's still on the market.
Yeah.
Chauncey Gardner just signed with
Yes.
Detroit on a
Yes.
one-year deal.
It blows my mind he only got a 1-year deal, but
Yeah, only worth 8 million, which was very surprising.
that's wild.
I thought he was going to get a multi-year deal from somebody, but apparently nobody values him as much as they should have.
And and people want to talk about, Lamar Jackson getting the raw end of the stick. Chauncey Gardner Johnson got the wrong end of the stick. Look, I'm not gonna get into it. He's not on the Falcons. He's not in the NFC South. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Chauncey, I believe in you, brother. You should have got top safety money, not top five. Maybe top five, top 10. You should have got top 10 safety
Top,
money.
top seven.
Yeah,
He's definitely one of the top safeties in the league, in my opinion.
absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, let's go with the Bucks. The Bucks had an outstanding signing by way of Greg Gaines, defensive tackle. He played in LA for the last couple of years and he's really came on strong, and he is one of the better interior linemen, defensive linemen in the league. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say he's top 10, top 15, but he's no scrub by any means.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not. He's a young player that's growing, and he had a good year in LA. So I was surprised that he was still available in the market. And I was also very surprised he didn't get signed for a long-term deal. He only got a one-year deal with the Bucks,
Yeah. Uh,
and he's only 26 years old. So that's
yeah.
a opportunity for him to have a good season, and then hopefully next year he cashes in on a big deal.
Yeah. And some people want to say that his good year was a byproduct of playing beside Aaron Donald. Well, guess what? He's gonna be playing beside Vita Vea because so he's gonna have another good season. All right, that's usually how it works. Not everybody can be Batman. Somebody got to be Robin, and Greg Gaines can be a really, really good Robin.
Yeah,
Um,
and he's definitely going to play D end for Tampa because they play a 3-4 typically. and Shaq Barrett's going to be coming back from injury, so I'll be curious to see how they use Greg Gaines on that front seven to help Vita Vea and Shaq Barrett up front. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if we touched on this the last episode, but the Bucks managed to re-sign Levante David, and they also signed Chase Edmonds to a one-year deal, running back, who've been bouncing around a couple teams the past couple years, but he's a really solid back. He got sneaky
Yeah,
speed. He don't, he you don't think he's gonna run away from you until he pull away from you.
yeah.
Uh,
And they released Leonard Fournette and they released Cameron Brate at tight end. So now you got Rashad White and Chase Edmonds in the backfield, along with Vaughn from Vanderbilt, who they drafted a couple years ago. So they got a good running back, trio. And I know some people kind of look at it like, oh, Leonard Fournette, they released him. He's a loss for them. Not really. He didn't have that great of a season, and he's got a lot of wear and tear on the tires for a guy who's in his 20s still, coming out of Jacksonville. So I think Tampa's in a good situation with Chase Edmonds kind of being a reserve for Rashad White. I'm expecting Rashad White to have a big year in Tampa.
yeah, absolutely. Um,
So
next team on the list, your very own Carolina Panthers, man, who had a big signing today. Also could make another signing.
yeah.
So yeah,
So
explain to us what's going on.
so from everything I've heard, right now we've done one of two with wide receivers. The goal was to sign both Adam Thielen and DJ Chark in the next few days. And today, a few hours ago, they just officially signed Adam Thielen to a 3-year deal worth around 25 million, and only 14 million is guaranteed. So not a bad contract for a guy who's 32 years old. I still think Adam Thielen has the capability to produce and be a very beneficial asset to the locker room, especially the wide receiver room
Mhm.
in Carolina with Laviska Shenault, Terrace Marshall, Shai Smith. I'm curious to see how he helps them develop because they're all three very young players. I think he's going to be a huge asset to the Carolina locker room at 32 years old. He had 70 catches for over 700 yards this past season, 6 touchdowns while he was playing number two to one of the best receivers in the league,
Not
Justin
one of the best.
Jefferson.
He's the best.
I mean, you still have Cooper Cup and
All respect to Cooper.
yeah,
Justin Jefferson is the best wide
yeah,
receiver in the
he
game.
is. He is.
It's
He was on my fantasy team, so
yeah,
yeah, I have to agree.
yeah.
He helped me win a fantasy championship. But yeah, it's a huge signing for Carolina. I was nervous a few days ago. I was concerned whether or not we would sign him. I was hoping we would because I feel like with the young core of receivers we already have in place, I think him coming in is really going to help the locker room, help the wide receiver room. And if we can add a guy like DJ Chark, depending on the contract, I think DJ Chark is another addition that would really help the wide receiver room. And whatever quarterback we take at number one is going to really be able to come in day one and have a strong wide receiver core on top of having a pretty good tight end room as well, with Hayden Hurst being added last week.
Yeah. I'm sure Bryce Young is going to really, really enjoy that. Uh,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We're gonna get into that today because I'm
yeah,
I'm I'm gonna
yeah,
have some comments on who I
yeah,
think we should
yeah.
take.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's coming up. Last but not least, my Atlanta Falcons. We announced over I believe it may have been Friday or Saturday. I think it was Saturday that
Mhm.
we signed we re-signed cornerback Cornell Armstrong to a one-year deal. He was a very serviceable backup contributor last year who got thrusted into the spotlight because due to injuries when Casey Hayward went down, when AJ Terrell went down, he became our starter and he performed about as well as you would have hoped for someone who was on the practice squad. He took strides, and yes, before people start, yes, I know he got beat sometimes, but hey, this is the NFL. You're going to get beat. He did not look like he was afraid of the moment, and that's all you can ask for a cornerback who was thrust into a starting position. Um, we also signed Tay Davis. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know much about him. I know that this is just a this is a special team signing, and I'm okay with that. Special teams does matter. And it just came out maybe the last 30, 40 minutes that the Atlanta Falcons have agreed to a deal for free agent wide receiver Mac Hollins from Vegas Raiders. Mac, hey, dude, don't make it. Don't play the boy Mac, man. 6'4", 6'4", 225. The
Yeah.
hey, don't sleep on it. 57 catches, 690 yards, 4 touchdowns last year. Very, very solid wide receiver number two. And yeah, this Falcons wide receiver room is starting to take shape a little bit. Maybe a couple more pieces is needed. We might address that in the draft. Or, take a flyer on one of these veteran receivers who didn't get the market that they thought they was going to get.
Yeah.
That seems to be Terry Fondo's forte. That's where he has made his bones in Atlanta the past couple of years, and I'm all for it, man. So yeah,
Yeah.
now that we got that out the way, brother, let's get to some draft takes, man. Uh,
Yeah. Let's get some, I'll say some expectations, but also kind of our own predictions of what we think they might do. Hopefully this week, guys, we'll have our first mock draft up. We're working on that. It's a little bit of a process because we want to be able to show everything to you guys. That way, while we're doing it, there's a visual of each pick. So
yeah, yeah. Uh, who you want to get started with first? You want to start with let's
let's
start.
start at number one.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah, let's go by order.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, we got the first pick. We can go in
yeah,
order. We can go
yeah,
in order.
yeah.
Saints have the last pick in the, well, not literally the last pick, but in our division, they have the
That's what
last
that's
pick in
what.
the first round.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Um,
in case you've been living under a rock, the Carolina Panthers have traded for the number one pick overall. They gave up a substantial amount of draft capital, and
depending on who you ask.
yeah, depending on who you ask, it's not unbearable, but they
No.
gave up a substantial amount, and also wide receiver DJ Moore, notable Falcons killer. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
he took his helmet off.
yeah. Uh, Appreciate you, DJ.
Yeah, no, thanks, DJ.
Yeah, so number one pick overall. It can only go. I saw a mock draft when someone said, "Oh, don't be surprised if Carolina takes Will Anderson." I'm like, dude, I don't
Mm,
want to say what I
You
said
don't.
on. I don't want to say what I said on air, but
No, yeah,
just,
we'll keep
just
it
yeah,
PG here.
yeah,
We'll keep
just
it PG,
yeah.
but
There's
yeah, there's no way. No way. I'm gonna say that. There's no way they gave up all those assets
to
just to
get
trade up to number one to
to
draft
get.
a pass rusher.
There's no way. See, some fans are stupid. I would say that. Some of them.
Yeah,
Let's
some fans
just say
don't
some
have
out.
any they're not in touch with the current product, I'll say.
Yeah, like
I mean, because it doesn't make sense. Why would you give up all those assets, including DJ Moore, just to trade up for Willie Anderson? That doesn't make
it
sense.
doesn't make sense,
You could
especially
have
if
just
you,
gave up, another draft pick instead of giving up your wide receiver.
and also you don't have to jump up to number one to get Will Anderson. But when I say some fans are stupid, I don't mean our fans. Our fans are very knowledgeable because they listen to the podcast. They know what's going on. They are informed. They are they're well read. They know what's going on in the NFL. They know what's going on with their respective teams.
They for
And
the most part, yeah.
yeah, so these are very sensible and reasonable guys and girls. So they know what's going on. So we're not even going to address that horrendous take. Who do you foresee the Carolina Panthers uh, being, picking?
Number one, so I've heard the rumors that, they're looking at three quarterbacks. That was as of 24 hours ago on Bleacher Report. They tagged a report from ESPN. Jeremy Fowler was saying that Carolina's looking at three quarterbacks: um, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson. The reason Anthony Richardson has been brought up is because of the fact that he had a huge combine. He broke all the records for a quarterback at the combine. But in Carolina's situation, you don't trade up to one to go get a guy who you have to sit for at least a year to develop. Now, does Anthony Richardson have elite traits? Does he have capability of starting day one? Potentially, yes, but I feel like he's more raw as a talent than CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. So for me, as a Panthers fan, I foresee Carolina going CJ Stroud at number one. The reason for that is he's the prototypical size at 6'3". He's over 200 pounds. He's very accurate. He has great anticipation. And he showed against Georgia in the playoffs that he has the ability to move and be mobile and make plays with his feet when he needs to.
Hmm.
His first mindset, his first reaction though, is always to throw the football downfield.
Yeah, he runs to throw. He don't run to run.
Yeah. He doesn't run to run, he runs to throw. He runs to make a play in the passing game. And I love Bryce Young as well. I love all three of the quarterbacks. I'm not a big Will Levis fan. But as far as Richardson, Bryce,
Hey,
and
the pride of Kentucky, man. Show some respect.
yeah, okay. He's eating the whole banana without taking the peel off.
Oh, he's a savage.
He's a savage. Um, but for me, as a fan, I personally think CJ Stroud. I like Bryce Young, but I think with what Frank Reich likes at quarterback, he likes the bigger, stronger, taller quarterbacks. And I think CJ Stroud fits that mold perfectly. So for me, I'm taking CJ Stroud number one. I think CJ Stroud has proven the last 2 years that he is capable of making the throws that you need him to make. He's very accurate. He has great anticipation. And yeah, you can argue that he had weapons. He had great receivers in Ohio State. Garrett Wilson was there last year. He had Chris Olave last year, or 2 years ago. Um, and then
Yeah,
obviously,
he had him last year too. Well, no, 2 years ago. You're right. You're right.
yeah,
Both of
two
them.
years
Both of them
ago.
2 years
This
ago.
past
Yeah.
season, he had Jackson Smith and Jigba, and he had Marvin Harrison Jr.
Future top
Um,
10 pick
yeah,
for
next year
sure.
top 10, number one wide receiver on my board for sure.
He better be.
Yeah, he's my number one for next year for wide
Oh
receiver.
my God, the man is unreal.
Um, but yeah, I think CJ Stroud's perfect for our team. I think he can start day one. And honestly, I think you put him into what we have, adding in Adam Thielen, Miles Sanders, Hayden Hurst, the offensive line. Although Austin Corbett might not start week one, he might not come back until potentially week 10. I think Carolina's in a spot where you plug in CJ Stroud and he starts day one, and you're instantly in a greater position than you were last year. So I think CJ Stroud's the move. And I think they knew that after the combine when he performed the way he did. I mean,
Mm,
to me, I'm not a big combine person. I don't really pay attention to what they do there because I don't think it's the decisive
mm.
maker whether or not you draft
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
But CJ Stroud had a hell of a combine, and in my opinion, the best throwing combine I've ever seen a quarterback have.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
not just me. If you listen to a lot of the experts out there on ESPN and NFL Network, like a lot of guys are saying that's the best throwing session they've ever seen from a quarterback at the combine.
Yeah.
So for me, yeah, I would say I would take CJ Stroud. I love Bryce Young, but his height does concern me a little bit.
I don't think it's more so his height. I think it's his build.
Yeah.
Um, because he has shown the ability to be able to read over the middle of the field and make the throws when necessary across the middle of the field. It's just he's barely 200 pounds, man.
He's 205 right now.
And there's no way he's 205. There's no way.
Have you
But
seen? I'm not trying to
but
pick on him. I
yeah.
swear to you, but have you watched any of his interviews? He sounds like a kid.
Hey man. Hey, I'm not gonna go there, but I will say that there's a picture on the internet floating around of Bryce Young standing next to Mina Kimes and they're looking eye to eye with each other. So do with that information as you will. But I'm not concerned about his height. I'm more so concerned about his build. Like
Yeah,
Kyler Murray was, he's around the same height, but Kyler Murray was a legit 200 pounds,
yeah.
legit. Like
He's a
there,
stocky quarterback for
yeah,
being 5'10".
yeah. There, he didn't have to chug water and all that. He was legit over 200 pounds.
Yeah,
Bryce Young, when he takes his first NFL snap, he'll be somewhere in the ballpark around 185 to 190,
yeah.
and that concerns me because he's going to be getting hit by 300-pound men, 275 who can run as fast as him. Like it's concerning. Do I think he can adapt and persevere over that? Absolutely. But still, if I were a GM or owner or coach and I was staking my job on the putting my job on the line, I
Yeah.
would not hitch my wagon to a 5'10", 185-pound quarterback. I just wouldn't do it. I know Bryce Young is probably, if we're discounting size, he is the most talented quarterback in this draft. You would agree,
Oh
correct?
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But
He's a playmaker.
yes, I just I
He's a
can't.
point guard who plays quarterback in the NFL, or I'm sorry, in football. And he's soon to be in the NFL.
Mhm.
I've said this to numerous people. It's not the talent that I'm concerned about with Bryce Young. It's the ability to take the punishment that he's gonna take as a quarterback. I know Tom Brady lasted as long as he did because he didn't get injured. He got injured one time throughout his career, but Tom Brady was also over 6'3".
Yeah,
So
6'4", two something, man. So
yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, people say, oh well, Kyler Murray's doing it. Russell Wilson. First off, Russell Wilson is a very stocky dude.
he
Uh,
think.
he's very thick, as Cory says. Um, yeah, I just don't. For Carolina, it doesn't make sense knowing the way Frank Reich has described the ideal quarterback for his system. And you
Yeah,
look at the quarterbacks that he's coached: Carson Wentz, Philip Rivers, Matt Ryan, Nick Foles is another one.
I gotta
They're
take my hat
all,
off from. This is me tipping my hat to Matt Ryan, man.
yeah,
You gonna
they're
bounce
all
back, King?
bigger quarterbacks. And I know there's rumors out there that David Tepper prefers Bryce Young, and then Frank Reich and Scott Fitterer prefer CJ Stroud. I don't think you can go wrong necessarily with
With
either
either,
one
yeah,
from a talent standpoint. But when I'm just really breaking down the height and weight, scheme fit for what this coaching staff would want, I would say CJ Stroud is the perfect fit to start day one. And that's why I got to go to CJ Stroud. I cannot imagine they would go Bryce Young unless David Tepper kind of forces their hand.
you know the look on your face when we'll be in Kansas City and they announce with the first pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Will Levis, quarterback, Kentucky, is going to be priceless. It's going to be priceless. But
I legit might cry in a bad way if that happens. And this is no disrespect to Will Levis or any fans out there who are Will Levis, supporters, but that's not me. I don't feel like he's ready day one, and I'm gonna stand by that.
Will Levis is Wild Thing from Major League. He is Charlie Sheen. He has all the ability, but he can't put it together. Maybe he need to put some glasses on, and he gonna go out there and light it up, man. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't foresee it, but yeah, right now I'm hearing Richardson, Stroud, and Bryce as the top three for Carolina.
well, that's enough Carolina talk. Uh, so
Never have enough Carolina talk.
yeah. All right, with the number 8 pick. This won't be as long
Oh,
as
I'm sorry, real quick. I don't mean to cut you off.
okay.
So, who would you take if you're Carolina?
I'm definitely taking CJ Stroud.
Okay.
Although I've said it before in the past, if you heard me say it, when I first said it, you looked at me like I was crazy. Anthony Richardson,
Yeah.
if he goes to the right situation,
The
it's
coaching staff is there.
he's going to be far and away the best quarterback from this draft. If he can put it together the way I think he can put it together, because uh, I don't think his flaws are as big as people are making it out to be. Like some of the clips has been floating around on Twitter and on the internet of him short arming a throw to the flat. That's bad footwork. That's not because he don't have enough arm. Lord knows he got enough
Oh yeah,
arm.
he has the strongest arm in the draft, besides Will Levis.
you know, he can read defenses. He can anticipate throws. Sometimes he missed, but that's also due to bad footwork. If you can go to a team with a coaching staff that is dedicated to working on his mechanics, his footwork, just little small things that you need to clean up. He's going to be a superstar. A
Oh
superstar.
yeah, yeah. I mean, real quick before we transition to the Falcons, another
Mm.
point to that is you look back when Frank Reich was in Philadelphia the year they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. Prior to Carson Wentz's injury, that was the best
He was
version of
MVP.
Carson Wentz we had ever
He
seen.
was he was the runaway MVP that year.
Runaway MVP. And people forget that. And all they remember is what they see now with Carson Wentz, where he's been with the Commanders and he's been with the Colts. I'm telling you, Frank Reich has a pulse on how to coach a quarterback. I mean, Nick Foles won MVP in the Super Bowl that year, and Nick Foles hasn't done anything since.
Well, he also carved up my Falcons when he played for the Bears.
Fair enough,
He
but
led
my
a
point is,
13-point comeback.
my point is Frank Reich, as much as people might have things to say about him when he was in Indy,
Mhm.
Frank Reich has a pulse on how to groom a quarterback. And I really think, to your point, Anthony Richardson has the elite traits that if you have the coaching staff in place, Anthony Richardson could start day one.
Mhm.
Could. Not saying he will, but he could.
Could absolutely.
And I think he could be the steal of the draft if
He
a
goes to.
team can
Mhm.
groom him and build him and mold him into what he potentially could live up to.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you. Anthony Richardson is a dark horse. And to be honest, I would not be surprised if come draft day, it's down to Anthony Richardson at number one or CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised.
All we have to do is just ensure that Anthony Richardson stays the hell away from Las Vegas. Godly, we don't. I don't want to wish that on
Yeah.
you, brother. I don't want to wish that
I
on
think
you.
Will Levis is either going to Indy or Vegas, in my opinion.
I hope to God Shane Steichen says, you know what, we're gonna take Anthony Richardson. We're gonna put him in a good situation.
If he's there at four,
That's
someone can
true.
trade up to three.
That's true. Which leads me to the next team, the Atlanta Falcons.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw this rumor going around, but it's, some respected people. I'm not going to say highly respected because I don't know them. So some respected people are saying that the Atlanta Falcons are at play for trading up to number 8. I mean, trading from 8 to number 3, which I think is ridiculous. You don't trade up and give up that many assets to get a pass rusher or a defensive tackle. If you're jumping from 8 to 5, I mean, you're jumping 5 spots. You're jumping from 8 to 3. You're going to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
And this regime has showed time and time again that Desmond Ritter, whether you like it or not, folks, is our quarterback. There's nothing we can do about it. It's his show. He's going to
Yeah.
get 2023 to show us whether or not he can be the guy. And I know I've been wavering sometimes. I believe on the first podcast, I made a joke about bringing Lamar Jackson to Atlanta. That's different. That's Lamar. That's Lamar. Okay. If
It's
Lamar's
proven
available,
money.
yeah, if Lamar's available, you'd be a fool not to want him. But this regime has showed me that they're so much more smarter than me. So and they also don't care about fans' feelings, which I am a big fan of. I love
Yeah.
seeing people get their hopes up and getting their souls crushed because they said something stupid, you know. So I'm okay with Desmond Ritter. Now, as for the number 8 pick, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Terry Fontenot has set himself up to do pretty much whatever he want to do in the draft. We can go BPA. If it's Bijan Robinson, it's Bijan Robinson. If it's Devon Witherspoon, it's Devon Witherspoon. Although Mike Hughes is visiting tomorrow, so if he signs, cornerback is clearly out of play. So it's
Yeah.
either my gut is telling me it's either going to be a running back, Bijan Robinson,
Yeah.
or it's going to be an edge rusher. And if it's an edge rusher, I know some people in the, some fans are a big fan of Miles Murphy. I'm not in that camp.
Mhm.
If I'm taking an edge rusher, because let's be clear, outside of Will Anderson, everybody else is just
Prospect.
yeah, I know people like Tyree Wilson, but Tyree Wilson is, if he's not 25 years old yet, he will be soon. Um,
Yeah.
and he just started to play his best football, which is a little scary. But if I was a GM and I was making the pick and I was 100% going edge rusher, I'm going Lucas Van Ness, man. I know it's
Yeah.
controversial, but
Yeah.
that's where I'm going. I know Jalen Carter has some issues. Some people believing that he made his stock is falling. There's
Yeah.
no way.
A little
There's no
bit.
way. His stock ain't falling. I'm not buying that. If he's not going 3, he's going 5. There's no way. If he
I
falls to
definitely think he's going to go top five still, but I do think some teams have soured on him just because they're concerned with not necessarily this situation, but more so his maturity level to continue to be available, week in and week out because of off the field stuff.
Mm,
So,
yeah. There's no way if he's on the board at 8, Terry Fontenot is gonna walk out there to Vince McMahon's theme song and walk the card to Roger Goodell and make him read it like he's restarting the match. Like, you read it. You
yeah,
read
you
it.
read this
You read it.
this script, this
You know what
card.
I'm saying?
Speaking of Georgia natives,
Mhm.
college players, I know you said Lucas Van Ness, but for
Mhm.
me, I would say Lucas Van Ness or
Don't do
Nolan
it. I knew you was gonna do it. I knew you
Nolan
was gonna
Smith.
do it. I knew you was gonna
He
do it.
has risen up draft boards, and now people are looking at him as the second best edge rusher behind Will Anderson, which wasn't the argument a couple months ago. A couple
Yes.
months ago, he was not projected to go that high. He was projected to go back end of the first round, early second. But now potentially he can go top 15, top 12. And
Mhm.
I can totally see you guys doing that because of his elite speed off the edge.
Yeah. Um, we
I don't
kind
think
of
it's a bad idea.
no,
I just say that. I mean, Brian
yeah,
Burns.
yeah,
Let's not forget. Brian Burns was the same kind of prospect where he was fast, but he didn't have the build that a lot of GMs like when it comes to edge rushers.
yeah. Um, I'm not gonna poo poo it. I'm not gonna do that. But what I will say is, after speaking and reading some things from New Orleans Saints fans, uh, I learned that Ryan Nielsen, our defensive coordinator, is a big fan of big defensive ends. Um, and when I say big defensive ends, I mean at least six
Power
four,
rushers.
6'5",
Yeah.
in the range of 260 to 285 pounds. So I don't think Nolan Smith will fit that range. I kind of don't know if that's the scheme he's going to run because currently the Falcons have no one with those dimensions on our roster. Right now, we have Arnold Ebiketie, who may be 240, 245, and we have D'Angelo Malone, who on a good day might be 245.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. Everything's still up in the air. Nolan Smith is he is an elite prospect. I will concede to that. But I need to know first what kind of scheme we're running before I can be on board with that. But then again, they don't and they shouldn't care what I think. If
Yeah.
if they want to win, they're gonna pick the best players who help them win. So yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
I think that's a good spot to leave it with the Falcons.
Yeah.
Also, don't be surprised if we see Bijan, man. You know what I'm saying? Bijan and Tyler Algier. Ooh, baby. Talk about
Let's talk about that for a
offense.
second
Okay,
before we move
okay.
on.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
we're trying to not be too far behind our schedule here, but
Mhm.
I really think Atlanta could potentially have one of the best offenses in the division if they target Bijan Robinson. And I know people are going to call me crazy. I'm not a Falcons fan, obviously, but I feel like Bijan Robinson is one of the, as me and you have said every time we've talked, Bijan Robinson is a blue chip prospect
Mhm.
who is a can't miss talent
Oh yeah.
from a talent standpoint.
Oh
Obviously,
yeah.
you have to see it on the field, and he did it in college. I mean, Texas wasn't that great of a team the last few years, but he always stood out. And I really think if you guys brought him in to pair with Tyler Algier, Drake London, um, Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith, I
Matt
really
Collins,
think
baby.
y'all could have Matt Collins.
don't,
Okay, you
don't
can
do
have that.
don't do my boy, man.
um, I think Bijan Robinson would elevate your offense to a whole nother level. As we've seen in Carolina and as the Saints have seen in New Orleans with Alvin Kamara, when you have an elite prospect at running back, your offense can do so much more when they're on the field.
Mhm.
I.e., the Giants with Saquon Barkley this year with Saquon when he was healthy, this is the best he's looked since his rookie year.
Absolutely.
I really do believe in Bijan Robinson. I know people aren't fans of drafting running backs in the top 10, but if you were to do it, I think Atlanta is the perfect spot for Bijan Robinson to go.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna let me get the floor for a second, man. All
Yeah,
right.
have at it.
All right. So I know there's a contingency of Falcons fans who are saying there's no way we can draft a running back at 8. Oh my God, we got Tyler Algier. He just ran for 1,000 yards. Why would we take another running back? I got some points to make. First of all, this is a regime that drafted a tight end at 4, a wide receiver at 8 when we needed pass rush both years.
Yeah.
So if you think Bijan Robinson is not in play and he's not high on their draft boards, you're high. The man is a top 3 prospect in this draft. It goes Jalen Carter, it goes Will Anderson, and it's Bijan Robinson. There are literally no question marks in any 3 of those
Yeah.
games. There's a question mark with CJ, even though it's not fair. Like, oh, is he mobile? We saw he's mobile. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Bryce Young, oh, his size. That's not fair either because you can't help how big he is
I mean, they do this every year.
every year.
NFL Network and ESPN always do this crap every year where they're just breaking down prospects to be ticky tack on every little thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's more blue chips prospects in this draft than people are wanting to acknowledge, is
Yeah,
what I'll say.
yeah. Also, so to the people who say, "Oh, we got Tyler Algier, why would we need him? Why would we need?" Well, first of all, if you a couple years ago, the New York Jets drafted Michael Carter out of UNC.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good back. Would
2
you
years
not?
ago.
Would you say he was a pretty good back? Right?
Mm-hmm.
He had a pretty good year, right?
Yeah.
What did they do in the draft? They took Brees Hall. You know why? Because Brees
Brees Hall,
Hall
sorry.
was an elite prospect.
Yep. Fell to the second round.
Yes, he elevated that whole team. You're not even talking about Michael Carter right now. You don't even know if he's still with the team. He is, but you don't
Yeah.
even know. Like,
And he's potentially going to be traded by the draft, potentially.
like don't. And I like Tyler Algier, but I view him in that same role as Michael Carter. He's a
He's
good.
not elite.
He's
Tyler
not elite.
Algier is a great talent, but he's not an elite
Yes,
talent.
and you need that guy on your team. Like he'll
Mhm.
run, 3rd and 3. He'll get you those 3 yards.
Yep.
But I want somebody. I want a running back who 1st and 10 can take you 60 yards for a touchdown.
Hmm.
There's been plenty of times the offensive line sprung holes for Tyler Algier, and he broke out and took a 20-yard run when it should have been a 50-yard
Yeah.
touchdown. He
Yeah.
just don't have that gear, and that's okay. But if we take Bijan Robinson, not only will he be effective in the backfield, he'll be effective out of the backfield.
Yeah.
You can put Bijan Robinson at the slot,
Yeah.
or you can put him at wide receiver, and he could be a Pro Bowl wide receiver. That's how good he is. I I don't I don't know if people understand how crazy athletic and crazy good this football player is. The best I can explain it is Bijan Robinson is Todd Gurley without the knee injury.
Yeah.
He is AP, a young AP.
Yep.
That that's who we're talking about here.
Oh yeah.
So why, if the Falcons wanted to take him over a pass rusher, I'm not gonna be mad at him. You want a
Mm-mm.
sure thing. You don't want somebody who you hope can turn into a good pass rusher. We tried
And
that.
yeah. And on top of that, like we always say, me and you always talk about running backs in the draft in the first round. We all see, for those football fans who are knowledgeable about the running back position in the NFL, you want to get a elite talented running back on a rookie contract,
Absolutely.
especially in the first round, because you have that fifth year option that you can pick up,
Yep.
and you can utilize that to have them for 5 years and then pay them if you want. I'm looking at it right now. Bijan Robinson's 21 years old. 21. You draft him first round, you have him for 5 years guaranteed, as long as you're willing to pick up that fifth year option. And I think that's the way to go. I mean, look at Dallas. Dallas just released Ezekiel Elliott. Yes, he's fallen off the cliff a little bit, but he's still in his 20s, but he has a lot of wear and tear on the tires. He's been run down. He hasn't been the same in the last couple of years. Running backs are replaceable, but at the same time, when you get a elite prospect, a blue chip prospect like a Bijan Robinson, you really need to look at the numbers and think to yourself, he's 21 years old. If I draft him first round, I have him for a guaranteed 5 years. So by
Yeah.
then he'll be 26, 27,
Yeah.
going on 27.
Yeah. And from the moment Bijan Robinson steps his foot on the NFL football field, he will be a top 15, borderline top 10 running back.
And potentially offensive rookie of the year. Potentially.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. That's what kind of talent we're talking about here, folks.
And
Because
on top of that, one last thing before we move on,
mhm,
what do we always say about a young quarterback? What's the most important asset to have for a young quarterback is a running game.
mhm.
And Bijan could easily provide that. Look what Carolina just did. That we signed Miles Sanders, who people might not be the biggest fan of, but let's be honest, Miles Sanders is an upgrade over Deontay Foreman.
It
I don't
hurts to
care what
hear,
anybody
but
says.
it's the truth, guys.
It's the
It-
truth. And you might disagree with me in the comment section, but I tell you what, he had over 1,200 yards last year, 12 touchdowns, and yes, it was on a great team, but Miles Sanders is only 25. Like he's still young. He'll be 26 by the season start. He's young, he's talented, and he's an upgrade over Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard. When you have the chance to go get a young guy who can make a home run play, like you said, Miles Sanders, a Bijan Robinson, an Alvin Kamara, you really got to capitalize on that opportunity. And I think Bijan would be the perfect prospect for you guys if you don't go defense.
yeah. Yeah, look, you got me all worked
Yeah,
up, man. Got me cranked
got
up.
me worked up. I mean, I'm not
I
even a
gotta,
Falcons fan. I'm over
yeah,
here defending you.
yeah. Let me lower my microphone, man. So yeah, yeah. I'm stepping down from my pulpit, man. But
Yeah.
the Church of Bijan is strong. It's very strong.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So yeah, let's go. Pick 19 Bucks. Uh, they got some holes.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
The specifically the interior offensive line. I don't think. Well, I don't know. They may take that with pick 19 if someone like Osiris Torrance is still on the board. Um, Personally, would I do that? No, I would probably. Well, yeah, I'll probably do that because at that point, I don't think there's going to be any difference makers on the on the defensive side of the football. Maybe no, yeah, I don't see any at pick 19. I don't. Uh,
Yeah, because I mean, they re-signed Jamel Dean. They still have Carlton Davis. I could see them going after a safety because besides Antoine Winfield, who do you really have back there?
oh yeah, they did lose Mike Edwards. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Well,
Mike Edwards.
hey,
And Tampa likes to run multiple safeties.
yeah, boom. Then it's settled. Brian
So
Branch.
I could
Boom, boom,
Brian Branch would be a perfect
boom.
asset to them because they still need a nickel corner. I mean, I know they have Carlton Davis, they have Jamel Dean, but I mean, with the way the NFL is nowadays, you run multiple corner sets and
Mhm.
guys who can be hybrids like a safety slash nickel corner. I think Brian Branch would be a good prospect for them to draft at 19. My top priority for Tampa has to be offensive line.
Yeah. Uh,
Um, Hopefully, in their scenario, maybe Peter Skoronsky falls to 19. I don't foresee that, but I mean,
it's possible due to
possible.
how
He
the
would be
NFL.
a huge
Yeah,
upgrade for them.
yeah. The reason why we say it's possible, folks, because the NFL really, really, really hates short arm people.
Yeah,
Uh, they do
offensive
not.
lineman,
Yeah, they
offensive
do.
lineman.
Yeah, yeah. They do not like their offensive linemen with small arms. And
No.
Peter Skoronsky measured in with I want to say 32-inch arms,
Hmm.
which is I think the smallest of the offensive linemen at the combine. Probably the smallest in the last couple years. I think Rashawn Slater arms was bigger than his, which said something because he was not originally for his short arms. But
No.
also, let me throw this out there. Levante David signed a 1 year deal, so this is essentially his last year in Tampa Bay. Would it sound crazy if Tampa Bay selects Trent Simpson,
No.
linebacker from Clemson?
Yeah. Because Trent Simpson can play outside and inside, so it wouldn't be crazy, but I don't feel like that is their biggest need. But I mean, it's a good idea. I mean, he's very athletic. He had a great combine. And Trent Simpson is one of those guys that you could plug in right away.
Yeah. Now, the only reason why I said that because
And he
I
did
be,
have 32, it was 32 and 1/4 inch arms.
yeah.
He's
Uh
6'4", 313.
yeah, Skoronsky, man. You know, every inch counts, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, uh, so,
Oh man,
uh,
yep. That's fair enough. True
yeah,
story.
so with Trenton Simpson, the only reason why I suggested him is because at that point when Tampa Bay is on the clock, I really don't foresee them. I don't foresee there being any game changer options there in
I-
regards to what they need.
what if? What if?
All right,
I know this is kind of crazy.
we going there. Let's get it. Let's go.
Let's get hot takey for a second.
All right.
They lost Gronk a couple years ago.
Oh no.
What if they go tight end?
Oh
What if they
no.
go
Oh no.
Darnell Washington from Georgia
Oh no.
or
Oh
Michael
no.
Mayer from Notre Dame?
Oh God. Um,
Dalton Kincaid from Utah.
you know, I was gonna say that's crazy, but I just spoke about how my Atlanta Falcons took a tight end at 14. I mean, at pick 4. So,
The tight end class is very deep.
yeah.
And if there's not, and I'm only saying this because if there's not a good offensive lineman there at 19 and they don't trade up, I could see them taking a tight end who is a vertical threat because Kate Otten is the
Hmm.
young guy they drafted last year. He's not a vertical threat by any means. He's more of a possession receiver.
I don't
Um,
know. He got some quickness to his game.
eh, I feel like this tight end class is better than him, in my opinion. I'm just gonna say
Hey,
that.
ooh, ooh. Hey,
um,
they gonna be at your neck for
hey, that's
that.
fine. That's fine. I think a lot of people will agree with me. This tight end class is a lot better than people realize. And Michael Maher from Notre Dame is a great prospect. Darnell Washington from Georgia. I mean, 6'7",
Yeah,
260 plus pounds, and he
yeah.
ran like a 4.5 or a 4.4.
I think no, I think he ran like a 4.6, 4.7. But at
Okay,
that,
I'm off.
yeah,
Okay, yeah,
if you calculate like from the weight to height, and it would equate to a 4.4 on a for a receiver or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a math guy, but I saw that.
yeah.
Um,
I
could
mean, I just think why not add more weapons for Baker
Yeah. Well,
or Kyle Trask
we're
if
not.
you
We're
want to go
we're
there. If you want
not.
to go
We're
there.
not. We're not doing that. No, we're not going to disrespect the.
Tampa Bay's GM is trying to convince fans that Kyle Trask is the future.
We are not going to disrespect former first overall pick Baker Mayfield. We're not doing that. He living. He feeling dangerous. Okay, he go. You know, comeback player of the year. I'm putting it out there. Baker Mayfield. Oh yeah. Who else is coming back? Who else is coming back? TJ. No one. No one is Baker.
Odell,
Is he going to be back though?
I have
Like,
seen.
is he gonna sign
Have you
somewhere? I don't.
seen him at these
I
these
know. I
training sessions and these
I know.
workouts?
I know. He looks really good, but I'm saying, is he?
And he's jacked as crap. I'm gonna use my proper
Yeah,
language here.
he. The boy buffed up. But I'm saying, is he going to sign a contract and be in training camp for a team?
Well, you can already. Well, we're getting off track here. See, let's save this for another day.
Yeah. I know where you was going
I
with
was
it.
about to go on a tangent for a
Yeah,
second. I'm
yeah.
not
I
going
know
to do
you. I
that.
know you're going with it. Uh, so yeah, Tampa Bay is another team that can, like I said, and we discussed it. They can go any route they want to go. If they want to go offensive line, no one's going to fault them. If they want to go defensive line, no one's really going to fault them. If they want to go defensive back, no one's going to fault them. Just take the best player available at 19, Tampa Bay. Let's
I
not let's
think
not get
they're
crazy.
in a minor rebuild. Like I think they still have talent. I'm curious to see, depending on how the season goes next year, whether or not they just blow the whole thing up.
Mhm.
Um, but right now, they still have a lot of good pieces in place to where they're still capable of being competitive. And I won't rule them out for the division title because they have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and I like Rashad White. I think Rashad White's a very good running back. Um, and if that defense can get healthy and get back to what they used to be with Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett, Winfield, I think Tampa could easily be super competitive in the NFC South.
Yeah. I just thought about it. I keep forgetting that they traded Shaq Mason. Uh,
They did
there,
to the Texans.
there's no way they don't go interior offensive line in this draft. Is it?
Cyrus Torrance.
There's no way. They
It's
have to.
Osiris Torrance is projected mid to late first round right now, so I could
Hmm.
easily see him falling to 19. He played at Florida, so that would be easy for him to transition from the Gators
Hmm.
to Tampa Bay, Florida.
Yeah,
So
and he plays with so much attitude, and I feel like he will fit in perfectly with Ryan Jensen because they both play with an edge.
yep,
Osiris plays to the whistle, and
yep.
even after the whistle sometimes. um,
And there's been people out there who believe he can play both tackle and guard. So
yeah, let's not get crazy. Let's
I mean, he's 6'5", so he's
yeah.
a big boy.
let's not get crazy.
I
We
don't know his arm length.
I don't
I
know.
know playing
Hey,
tackle, you have
look,
to have long
yeah,
arms.
you put him on the inside to let him dominate. Just
Yeah.
open up them running lanes for Rashad White and
I
also
mean, if you put him on the right side, you have Ryan Jensen, Osiris Torrance, Tristan Wirfs. That's a pretty good right
yeah,
side.
you gonna move the line of scrimmage easily.
It's a
Not
lot
before,
of beef.
yeah. Before
A lot
we
of beef.
a lot of we
A lot of meat.
oh we're
But
going off the
yeah,
rails.
I would say I think Tampa goes offense with the first round pick. That's what I would say if I was to guess.
Let's get let me bend your ear a little bit. Let's get crazy. Another outlandish take coming, guys. You know,
Do they trade up?
no. I'm not going
Oh,
that
okay.
crazy.
I
I've
was
been
wondering how crazy you're about to get with this.
no, I've been saying that there's going to be a fifth quarterback. They go in the first round.
Uh,
I've said that. I've said
oh,
there's going to be one. I've been hearing a lot of Tanner McKee. I've been hearing a lot of Hendon Hooker,
I don't see Hendon Hooker because he's still recovering from the ACL.
but they got Baker Mayfield, so they won't need him to start right away.
Just play for next
I'm
year.
just throwing it out there. I just lit the fuse and threw it in the room and closed the door, guys.
If you stink next season, you have a chance to get a top 3 pick.
Tampa Bay's roster is not bad enough for them to get a top 5
They
pick.
say that, but then injuries happen.
Hey man,
I'm just saying.
but they also got future comeback player of the year on the team. TJ, we Baker Mayfield, man, shake and bake.
I'm not a Baker fan. I never was.
Obviously,
Yeah,
hey,
especially in Carolina.
I'm calling right now. Baker Mayfield throws for 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns,
Oh
nine
man,
picks, nine
you about to
picks,
light up the comments
nine
section.
picks. It's happening.
Hey,
It's
comment
happening.
section, light up on this video for
Hey, it's
that
happening.
comment.
It's happening. I said it. All right.
Speak the truth to Cory here. Let him know, Carolina fans. I know there's subscribers who are Carolina fans. Let's go.
Hey man. All right. All right. Last team in the division. Uh Saints. New Orleans Saints. They're picking 28th, I believe. 28th or 29th?
29th.
29th. They're picking
Technically.
29th.
Yeah.
Um at this point, just pick the best player available in my eyes. They have some holes, particularly on the offensive line. I know they just re-signed. They restructured Andrews Pete, the interior offensive lineman. I know, much to some Saints fans' chagrin, there have been moments where Pete will look absolutely dominant, and then there's some points where he get absolutely blown off the ball.
Yeah.
So it's that inconsistency that probably um got Saints fans a little upset that he got that new contract a couple years ago. Where do you see the Saints going in the draft, man? Like in the first round with their pick 29.
So to be honest, this defensive class is very deep at every position. I know there's not a lot of big names, but I feel like the defensive side of the ball is very deep this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to go defense, man. Play off of your strengths. So they lost Marcus Davenport.
Yeah.
They lost Shy Tuttle.
Yes.
They lost Onyemata
Yep.
to Atlanta. I think you go front seven, defensive line for sure. I think you could address. I know they have Peyton Turner, but Cam Jordan's not getting any younger. And if you're trying to develop Peyton Turner, fine. But still, you can still address the front seven. And this defensive line class is pretty deep from a talent standpoint. Maybe not blue chip prospect level, but definitely back end of the first round. I could easily see them drafting defensive line. They still have Tyrann Mathieu at safety. He is a little bit older. The safety class is not great.
You can get the safety in like on day 2, day 3. Yeah, it's not.
The corner class is pretty deep. I
I,
could see them going corner again. I know they drafted Levante Taylor last year.
yeah.
They still have Marcus. I'm sorry, not Marcus. Marshawn Lattimore.
Shout out to Marcus Lattimore, South Carolina legend, man.
Yeah,
Shout out
former
to you.
running back for
Yeah,
South Carolina.
yeah, man. Shout out
Marshawn
to him.
Lattimore. Sorry, Saints
Yeah,
fan. Um, yeah, I think they go front seven, man. I really
yeah.
think that's where they need to go. I hear you on the offensive line, but I feel like you can address that later in the draft. Guard is not the biggest need. I mean, yes,
Mm.
it factors in, but the talent's there. Andrews Pete just needs to play better. They
I
still have
don't
Ruiz. They still have Eric McCoy. They have Ramchek. They have your boy,
don't.
left tackle. What's his name? Trevor
Trevor
Penning.
Penny.
Trevor Penning.
You know,
They got receivers. They got running backs. I really foresee them going defense first round. Go front seven. Go BPA. Whether that's linebacker, edge
mm,
rusher, D tackle, D end. Just something to get younger and add some talent to that front seven.
yeah. I'm gonna throw out some positions, and I'm just gonna rule them out just based off of how good they are. Like, so quarterback, I think they're settled for now.
Yeah,
So that's out of the question, especially how much they gave Derek Carr. Uh,
they're not
uh,
drafting.
running back, I would have loved to seen them take a running back. I believe they still can, but they most certainly will not be taking one in the first round. They got Jamal Williams. I don't know what's going to happen with Alvin Kamara. I don't know if he's going to be suspended by the league. I imagine he will be, but we don't know that for
What
sure
game,
yet.
I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Receivers. I know a lot of people think they're good at receivers, but I think they still could use one.
I mean, because Michael Thomas is on a 1 year deal.
Mm.
Now that you say that,
They could use a receiver. They really could. I don't know.
you know who's projected to go late first?
Oh, we about to say Jackson Smith and Jigba. That's where we're going.
So Jackson's, for those of you who don't know, Jackson Smith and Jigba from Ohio State is one of my favorite receivers in this class. I've heard rumors that he might fall to the back end of the first round. I could see New Orleans pairing him with Chris Olave because they played together at Ohio State. Michael Thomas is on a 1 year deal. He re signed to a 1 year extension, so he's going to be there for at least one more year. If they decide at the end of this season that they don't want him anymore, you draft Jackson Smith and Jigba late end of the first round if he's there, and you have your replacement for Michael Thomas.
I don't know. I don't know about
The
that. But
receiving core is not that great. Chris
it's
Olave,
not.
good. I love Chris Olave. But besides that, I'm not a big fan of Michael Thomas anymore. He's kind of dropped off over the last 3 seasons. Um, yeah, now that you've said it, I could see them going wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. Like I I like Jackson. I like Jigba, but I don't like his fit on that offense. I think New Orleans needs someone that can take the top off of defense. Uh, and that player, I don't know why, but Zay Flowers screams Saints to me.
Yeah.
He is a younger Brandon Cooks. That's what I see him as. And as much as I hate to admit it, he would be perfect for that offense. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Tailor made. He because with I know Michael Thomas is only there for a year, but with Michael Thomas there and Chris Olave there, you never have to line Zay Flowers up outside. He can always be a slot. And also, if you want to mix match, if on the off chance Kamara don't get suspended, you can go out there four wide with Zay Flowers, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and Alvin Kamara.
Juwan Johnson.
Jawan Johnson. How do you defend that?
Yeah.
how can you defend it?
Derek Carr, the more weapons you give him, the better off he'll be, especially with the money they paid him. So, yeah, it's crazy to think, but at the same time, if you're planning for the future, you have to think about life after Michael Thomas, just in case he doesn't pan out this year, he doesn't stay healthy, his play continues to drop off. I would go wide receiver. I think Zay Flowers is a great shout.
Mm,
I think Jackson Smith and Jigba, even though you might disagree, I think he's still a great addition to that receiver room. And I think you can move guys around and really flourish with wherever you go, whether that's Flowers or Jackson Smith. I
Yeah.
think now that you've said it, I think I'm changing my point of view
Yeah. I,
and kind of saying, hey, go
cause,
receiver,
yeah.
because
'Cause-
this receiver class, although it's not elite, it's very talented and it's deep. There's a lot of good receivers in this class that a lot of fans might not know about. And Zay Flowers is one of them. Zay Flowers is one of my favorite receivers in this
mm,
class. And I'd love for him to come to Carolina,
yeah.
even though he picked up Adam Thielen.
Yeah. Um, he just knows how to beat man-to-man coverage. He knows how to get open. He knows how to attack a defense. He can he knows how to split a cover two. He knows how to split a cover three. He he is probably it, a lot of people won't give him credit for it, but he's one of the top route runners in this class
Oh, yeah, for sure.
easily. Um, I know some of the fans are saying, well, why would we take a receiver? But first of all, you went all in on your offense. You gave Derek Carr over $100 million guaranteed. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh you might as well go all in. And like you said, and like I
Birds.
said, this is one of the deepest defensive classes in a long time. There's a lot of talent you can find in the second, third, fourth, fifth round who can
Yeah.
end up starting. Same thing with the offensive line, interior line. Look, I would have loved for Andrew Voorhees not to be injured because you can slide him into this offensive line and they're road grading. They're opening up so many holes,
Yep.
but you can still get him in the sixth or fifth or sixth round because of his injury. And guess what? You get him, you rehab him, and then next year you put him out there, and you got a top 10 offensive line.
Because, I mean, let's be honest, after this season, Saints are probably going to get rid of Andrews Pete.
No, no, with the way they restructure his contract, they can't do it. They went and restructured his contract. A lot of people were saying that they hope they don't do it because they would have been able to get out next year,
Yeah.
but they restructured it. So I think they're kind of hoping and praying at this point.
I agree, but then at the same time, Packers re-signed Aaron Rodgers last year, and now they're trying to trade him. So,
We don't. I believe that's got more so to do with Aaron Rodgers' personality than.
yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying anything can happen in the NFL. So
Yeah,
I'm not going to rule it out that they trade away Andrews Pete next year, next
yeah,
offseason.
yeah. And like you said, like on paper, they should have a good offensive line.
Yeah.
They should. Trevor Penning, he just need to learn how to pass block, man. He
Hmm.
can run block with the best of them.
Hmm.
Uh, Ruiz, I forgot all about him. He was,
Cesar Ruiz is great, and he's young.
and they gave Eric McCoy that big contract.
Hmm.
Um, he's a good.
Ramstek's still there.
They just
Best
got.
tackles in the league.
Yeah, I think they just need to jail. They just need to jail and stay healthy, and I think they should be fine. So, yeah, I'm changing mine. I think they go either receiver or defensive line. It has to be. I think their cornerback room is solid. I don't think they should add in the first round. Maybe back into the third, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that's a good spot to end it, man. Any
Yeah.
other draft takes you got? Who's your favorite players in the draft or anything like that?
So for me, I love the quarterback class. I've said that before. Although I'm not a fan of Will Levis, I think he is super talented. I think he's a prospect that, given the right situation, I think he'll flourish. I just don't want him in Carolina. He's not my cup of tea at quarterback. I would prefer CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, or even Anthony Richardson. I know some Carolina fans think that's crazy to think Anthony Richardson going number one, but I don't think it's crazy. I think he's super talented. And if he gets the right coaching, he can be just as good as Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and them boys. I mean, he's up there as far as elite traits. He has the traits. Like, that's not a question. It's a matter of whether or not he can develop with those traits. The running back class is deep. One name we
Deep,
didn't talk about today,
deep.
Jameer Gibbs from Alabama,
Oh,
one of my favorite running backs
oh
in this
my
class.
gosh.
And I know we just signed Miles Sanders, but there's no guarantee that Chuba Hubbard sticks around past the preseason. I mean, they might cut him. Who knows?
Yeah, he was a Matt Rule guy.
He's a Matt Rule guy. And Jameer Gibbs is one of my favorite players in this draft, favorite running backs. Um, Zay Flowers, I already mentioned, he's one of my favorite prospects, especially at receiver. I love Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think if we draft CJ Stroud #1, and then we hopefully, if there was a scenario where we can move up,
Finagle, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, and get Jackson
Maneuver.
Smith, yeah, I would love that. I know it's probably far fetched and
Yeah.
not realistic, but yeah, this Ohio State has continuously produced great wide receivers, just like LSU, and I'm excited for this wide receiver class that a lot of guys aren't getting recognition. I know Steve Smith, who's a former Panther great and future Hall of Famer.
Hmm.
One of his favorite receivers in this class, and I watched film on him most recently is Tank Dell from Houston.
Hmm.
He's a small 5'8" wide receiver, but he is tough as nails. He's gritty. He's fast. He's a solid route runner. People compare him to Steve Smith, and I could see where Steve Smith fell in love with him watching film. So that's another guy that is a day two dark horse for anybody who's able to draft him. I could see him going to Atlanta. He'd be a great guy to play in the slot for you guys.
Hey man. Like I said before, Terry can pretty much do what he wants at this point.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But
And the
yeah,
defensive class, man, defensive class is just top to bottom
it's loaded. It's
loaded.
loaded. It's
There's so
loaded.
many guys that I could name. I could spend hours talking about a lot of these players because not that I've watched film on all of them, but I've seen them play in the games from the past few seasons in college. And there's a lot of guys who I just think have very high upside. So,
The safety out of Illinois, Brown.
yeah.
If you don't know him, get used to him. He's
Yep.
going to be a stud. A
Yep.
stud.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think this is a good spot to end it, man. Folks, we're gonna get out of here, but before we do, we just want to say, I know in the last podcast we were saying to watch the video, like, subscribe, and all that, and
Yeah.
do the word of mouth. But oh my God, we were not prepared for what happened, man. Our last
100
video,
plus views.
100 plus views, man. You guys definitely answered the call. We're so appreciative of y'all.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
we thank y'all. We hope y'all. We hope we're keeping you guys informed and entertained, and we want you to keep it going, man. Keep sharing it. Keep talking about it. Send it to your friends. Send it to your mama. Send it to your daddy. Send it to your uncle, your cousins, your brother, your sister, your loved ones, your girlfriend, your side chick. Send it to everybody, man. We want everybody to take this ride with us, man. And we love y'all. We appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Even if you guys don't watch the whole video, just like and subscribe. It doesn't take but 2 seconds. The support is greatly appreciated for me and Cory. We're trying to build something special. You know, it's something we enjoy doing, and it's in our free time. So I just really appreciate the support and continue to support our videos. Just like and subscribe. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
If you want
Oh,
to watch the whole video, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
oh
But
yeah. We got some news.
definitely
We got some news on that, brother. Should I go ahead and let them know?
let them know. Hit it up.
Hey, as of now, guys, we are now on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcast from, Google, everywhere, man. So yeah, go ahead and go check us out, subscribe to us, leave a 5-star review. We really appreciate it, man. But yeah, big news, man. We're on Apple and Spotify, man. We're slowly but surely we're getting to where we want to be, guys. And we want you guys to be there along the way. And we thank you, and we'll see you next time, man.
All right. Peace.